Morning, folks. It's your boy CJ, the Internet Warlord. Oh, that is good this morning. This morning I'm rocking that AWR shirt. Yeah, hope you guys check out AWR, American Warrior Revolution. Oh, man, I'll tell you guys what. Welcome to Coffee and a Conversation. It's very early in the morning for a coffee and a conversation, but it's about the time people are having that coffee and conversation. So if you want, you can push the button, you can join the conversation, or you can just be a looky-loo. Choice is always up to you. So, but today is Sunday, February 24th, 2019, so here we are, again, another day. I decided to do this instead of Internet Warlords because for whatever reason they like to censor me on Internet Warlords, and I have no idea why. But again, if you'd like to join, you just gotta push that button. That's what that button's there for. So if not, like I said, you can just enjoy and watch and listen in for as long as your attention span is, and because people do have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds. And I'm going to admit, sometimes I do too. It just depends on the topic, It really does. So, I should have let that coffee just sit for just a little bit longer. So, but anyways, again, like I said, if you'd like to join, push the button. I'm not going to start on my conversation here for a few minutes just because, again, normally people got to tune in, and I like to kill people's attention spans. You gotta go potty? You go. Oh man. So we'll give it a few minutes here. Let me invite some people too. See if anybody'd like to join this morning. What? Aubrey, go use the potty. Jeez Louise. Kids. Yay. Again, here we are, just bullshitting the day away. I gotta go potty. So go potty. Jeez Louise. But again, if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome to. I'll get into my thoughts here in a moment, but like I said, first I gotta invite some people. Oh, man. Yesterday, AWR, I think the guy's name is Jeremy. He's joining doing the live broadcast. He's talking about joining militia groups and sovereign groups and all kinds of groups. I was listening very intently and trying to hear him out. Very interesting conversation. I thought about actually doing Internet Warlords and replaying his video and explaining that. Hey, Aubrey, you want to say good morning?
Good morning.
All right. She's having peanut butter toast and blueberries this morning. Blueberries are very healthy. Yes, they are. So yesterday he's sitting there and he's talking about militia groups and joining, and I mean, again, it's a lot to kind of recover. So I did end up, I believe, sharing the video onto my page. So if you want to go back and watch that and then listen to my response here, you're more than welcome to. I'm not saying what he's saying is a bad idea. Or the worst idea in the world. But if you need a certain percentage of the population, and it's got to come from the, all the states, and they all got to come together within a year, good luck with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. You want to pick like Nebraska or South Dakota. You want to pick a state out in the middle of the country, it'd probably be your best opportunity to accomplish something like that. In all honesty, you're talking about multiple facets. Good morning, Jennifer. You're talking about, again, something that will, with that many people, wake up a lot of people. It will ultimately cause a very, very large conflict. And again, I'm not saying it won't cause the right conflicts. I'm simply saying that, what you're asking for has pretty much, it's only been done once. In all honesty, to that extent. Again, I'm all for solutions. Trust and believe I have a list of grievances that I believe are problems with this country, and I have a list of what I believe to be solutions. For example, bring back the death penalty for elected officials that violate the Constitution and our rights, and enforce policies and laws that are repugnant to the Constitution. That would be one. And these are, again, just examples of ideas. So I see where the idea is. Good morning, Uncle Devin. And by the way, Uncle Devin, I watched that video. I actually pushed all the way through it. And again, it was hard to watch. And I'm going to say it to you right now, straight-faced. Q is a theory. It was a bad joke that has gone on for far too long. And the people that are in charge of it are not going to stop because it's too funny. It's too good for them, Started on 4chan, moved to 8chan. They were supposed to come out and say, this is just a joke. Never did. And now what they're doing is they're playing off of predictable media. Again, there's a reason why you don't see United States Marines sitting there waiting for Q drops in order to figure out what the next move is. For where we go one, we go all. So, again, think of that. Oh, you like this hat? Yeah, normally when I go on a long road trip, I end up getting a hat and something that, I enjoy. But again, Uncle, I'm not saying that they don't have intriguing and intellectual conversations and they don't spark those kind of things, but like I said, go ask a United States Marine Corps captain if he's heard of the latest Q drops, and he'll tell you that you're an idiot. I've always said Q is a theory. I've never once said Q is a fact. And again, it does not make me popular with certain groups. In fact, in your own video you sent me, it says Q says that anybody that goes against us must be a paid shill. Well, I haven't seen a single dime of that. And you guys know my PayPal account, and you guys know how to transfer money on Facebook. So, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that sweet anti-Q money. So far, thinking Q is a theory has not put a brand new home a roof over my head, or a brand new vehicle in my driveway. But again, like I said, when this started, a lot of people that I respect really went balls deep into the Q theory. But anyways, that's neither here nor there on where I was talking about originally. But since I see you on here again, it's intriguing. But it's certainly not corrupt government officials running pedophile rings, and pizza parlors and all that they've gone through before. But I do agree that it's a cool concept if it was real, but it's not. And I think it's just a public IQ test. You get it? You see what I did there? I think Q is just a public IQ test. Get it? So anyways, back to where I was with the whole patriot groups, because you guys are just, so patriotic these days. You guys want to talk about actually committing open treason against the United States government. But, I like it. I like the idea of in order to form a more perfect union and establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility and provide for that common defense and promote that general welfare and secure the blessings of, what's that word again? Liberty to ourselves and our posterity. And, we all come together and we talk a bunch of shit about how it used to be, and then we talk about what we want it to be, and then we all have some vote. And again, this is how the Electoral College started. So what's a vote worth from let's say, in a perfect scenario, Texas shows up, and all the Texas militia show up, and we're outnumbered for the South Dakota militia 3-1, 4-1. Our votes don't matter. You know what I mean? You see the problem you start to have when you talk in that way, in that manner, that you have, let's say, 10 people show up, and 7 are from Texas and 3 are from South Dakota. It's gonna run you're gonna run the gambit on the other states that are there for votes. So this is why the Electoral College was invented and why it is the way it is now. So I'm kind of curious as to find out your thoughts on that. Again, I'm not trying to kill your idea. I'm trying to build on your idea. I'm trying to say, okay, we all agree this government is violating the Constitution. We all agree that. If you're going to participate in what's being discussed, if you're actually going to actively engaging in joining a militia in 2019, we're talking about what the problems were that got us to where we are today. So I'm going to assume that we don't want to make those same mistakes for that. So again, I'm really curious. And again, if you'd like to join the broadcast this morning, you're more than welcome to push the button. If I was actually friends with the guy whose idea it was, and again, I'm not knocking his idea. I really want nobody to believe that I'm knocking the guy's idea. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook friends with the guy. I should really send him a request. I'm not knocking this guy. His name is Jeremy, though. I don't believe it's his actual name. I think that's his Facebook name. But if anybody else knows who he is, if you could find him real quick and shoot him a link to this video, and I'd love to stick him on half the screen right here and ask him these questions. Because again, the guy's motivating as shit. I'm really actually glad Ace decided to say, hey, you know what? Here, open up the AWR platform and talk. What's happening in Ohio is completely fucked. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but they're planning on turning 1 million Ohioans into felons overnight, very soon. I think you're setting up a very dangerous scenario if you're in Ohio. And again, very few people are paying attention to it. Most people are waking up this morning and going, oh, where am I going to get my breakfast burrito? They're not going to go, oh, what is my legislator doing to violate my rights? Because we live in this country where you pledge allegiance to a flag where your representatives are always benevolent and cheer the corruption for which it stands. Don't get me wrong. I really want to know. I want to know because I want a better future for my children. I want a better future for my grandchildren. I want to ask these questions. But again, hey, South Dakota is a perfect place to meet. Middle of the country. It's not Nebraska. It's kind of right at that point where you got the Badlands, tons of campgrounds. You got Sturgis out here. You got Mount Rushmore. You've got plenty of ways to entertain and host that idea. So, don't get me wrong. I've always had to travel for events because living in South Dakota, it's always, it's in D.C. or, it's not. It's nowhere near South Dakota. But this guy's talking about putting it in the middle of the country, which I think is fair. The government officials should be the first ones to the door. I don't think to the door. I think they should be knocking on heaven's door. We need to bring back that thing that you know what's funny? I'm not going to say I'm the reason why, but I'm going to say I'm a factor in why. And anybody that's articulating it like I am. and like I have been articulating, like others that I admire, we need to bring back hanging public officials for treason against the people. That's a fact. Make no mistake about it. Like, if you are a governor, an elected politician, a city legislator, or a state legislator, and you have violated the Constitution, violated it, if you are actively against it, we need to send you through that open door. Again, that's just my political belief, that we should bring back the death penalty for government officials that violate the Constitution and commit what's called civil treason. Okay, I'm missing here. The government, I'm going to be on your side with it. Well, Uncle, I got you back too. Oh, excuse me. Oop. There we go. Okay, I am caught up. I got in a debate about the Electoral College a few weeks ago. Libs want to get rid of it and are convinced it's unconstitutional. Their ideas are completely delusional, and they don't want to hear the truth, what's happening in Ohio, to make a percentage of their citizens felons. They're going to take away, I believe, a certain amount, like the length of a weapon. It has to be under a certain length in order to be legal and lawful in the state. So anybody that owns like a long rifle, or I don't know if an AR-15 Armalite rifle, tongue tying it today, is going to be legal and lawful in that state. Again, excuse me. I'm only human, folks. This coffee's giving me a running nose. So they're going to turn 1 million Ohioans into felons overnight, when they're going to say, if you don't want to be a felon, give us your guns. Sounds an awful lot like gun confiscation to me. But you know what? There's a solution, though, Ohio. You just have to hang those elected officials that voted for it from the neck until dead. That's it. That's it. That is your solution. I'm just saying, if you want the honest-to-God truth, the answer isn't vote them out. The answer is hang them from the neck until dead, so they will never vote again. That's the truth. I'm just saying, if you want to really solve the problem, not just put a Band-Aid over it and go, okay, guys, we'll just wait until the next time they, bad representative. I've always said this. Good morning, Mr. Breedlove. If you, let's say, for example, you have a governor that's violating the Constitution, and the people get together and they drag that governor from the office at all costs, guns drawn, everything's there. I mean, we're talking the anarchy scenario. Again, this is just talk. This is freedom of speech. This is expressing an idea all the way through its fullest fruition. And again, expressing those ideas and concepts and consequences should that be a path that is decided to go. Freedom of speech. Keep it that way. Anyways, if you drag that governor out of the office by force, and you put a noose around that governor's neck and you hang that governor for violating the Constitution, the next governor won't do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's the same scenario, and this is where Marty Jackley really fucked up last year when he used the death penalty here in South Dakota, is that his arguments can literally be used against government officials. That the reason why they used the death penalty in South Dakota this last time is they said so it would make an example out of criminals that are going to or potentially would kill law enforcement officers to not do that. So that we know now that the death penalty is and has been used as a deterrent here in the state of South Dakota. We can establish that precedence. Well, we, the people, can also utilize the death penalty. And they don't want us to know that, obviously. Our employees don't want us to know how much power we actually have. But by Marty Jackley, former Attorney General for the state of South Dakota, by his theories and his logic and his reasoning and his statements and precedents in law, we have the ability to utilize the death penalty. And I believe we should be able to utilize the death penalty against an entire elected government body if they are violating the Constitution. From the governor all the way down. So, and again, this is just talking to fruition an idea that again, it does not exist. It's in theory. And I'm certainly not organizing that today, I promise you. I'm just talking about what it is that could happen. So we take that governor out of office, hang that governor by the neck until dead for violating the Constitution, and then what? And then what? The next governor is not going to, because by example, and per Marty Jackley's argument, we will have used a deterrent to the next governor. And I would say you'd have to do it to the Attorney General, because they're also enforcing laws through the courts. You'd have to do it to the whole cabinet, pretty much. I mean, you're pretty much talking about a mass hanging of an entire administration at that point. Is the only truest way to stop the administration that's currently in place from violating the people's rights and interests and the Constitution. And again, that's just talking to fruition what is an idea that if you really want the solution. But you're talking about, again, what they would call in the history books treason against the corporation known as the United States. That's the truth. Like, that is the truth. I mean, and again, we're just speaking to its fullest fruition. But again, if you could get Jeremy on here, I'd love to interview the guy. I'd love to have that conversation with him. Because again, I don't think he's the worst guy in the world. I think he's got a hell of a conversation that he's got going on. Excuse me, America. I'm only human. So, again, we're talking again, I'm pretty sure I'm already on the list at that point, even discussing, in theory, what political theory that would lead to. So you might as well count me in. I mean, I'm already on that list. They're not helping me. They've already violated my family and my children's and my rights, and you know, there's no love lost between me and the unconstitutional government, I promise you. Gotta get this coffee hotter. You know when you take when it's only like a quarter full and it's still kind of lukewarm because it hasn't been sitting on the burner? 1,000 acres of hemp and we'd have the rope to do it. Absolutely. See, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. So, man, I think his name is Jeremy Dieter or something. Guys, I don't know how to. I'm gonna see if I can try to find the guy. I don't know how to spell it though. I think there's a. No. I don't know. Yeah, I can't find him. Oh well. So again, that's there's a few concerns, you know, like obviously elected officials are not going to be like, yeah, guys, just come hang us because we're violating your rights and interests, you know. They will give orders for government, you know, and police and sheriffs and everywhere to defend them, but I want you to really think about something. I think there's something like 240 sheriffs here in the state of South Dakota. So, again, if you know who he is, Uncle Devin, please try to invite him. I'd love to ask some questions and get his thoughts on it some more. And even not, if you can just send him this video so he can at least maybe contact me and we can set something up, you know, if he's not available. Just because, again, I like the direction. I just think that there's going to be lots of questions. And so, again, I might as well knock out some of the tougher ones early on. And, you know, it's all for the good of the cause, right? Again, I'm not trying to kill the man's idea. I want to clarify the man's idea. And, again, I love how he speaks. Extremely educated, extremely passionate. I think he's an incredible addition to to AWR and listening to him and Ace Baker kind of simultaneously is pretty educational. It really is. Really gets your patriotic blood going. Like, man, it could be. We could have freedom. We could do this. We could, and we should. We should discuss it. We should talk about it. We should be about that life instead of just waking up going, all right, guys, circle jerk on the internet. Circle jerk on the internet. Here you go. You'll go over this way for you. Go over a little bit this way for you. Yeah. Again, hey, thank you for some of you guys that have had attention spans that have been more than nanoseconds today. I do appreciate that. I was hoping that some of you were actually, not as busy today since it's Sunday. But again, this is a good conversation to have, and it's a good one over coffee and a conversation. And normally, like I said, if you want, you can push the button. You can, join the broadcast. You don't have to be a looky-loo. That's kind of what these coffee and conversations are for. You'd be amazed. Some people don't join because they feel intimidated, but don't. I promise you I'll look crazier in the video by the end of it than you. That's kind of the way I roll. Now, he's not on your friends on here, right? I have no idea who he is, but I'll find him and invite him. Where do you see his videos? On AWR, American Warrior Revolution. His name is Jeremy. I believe his last name is Dieter. Don't quote me on the last name again. I butcher last names like mine is always butchered. And again, I just, I think it's a great concept. I'm really good at writing, so if you wanted some assistance in drafting, information out there, I'd be willing to help. I got all the time in the world as of now. Yeah, if anybody knows how to get a hold of him, I'll send him a message directly too after this and shoot him this video and see if he'll come live with me and discuss it. I'd love to see him and Mr. Baker go live together and discuss it as well. Because I have a feeling that you're not going to get far unless you have Mr. Baker on board with the idea. The government keeps us divided to keep us under their thumb. Well, you know what? I don't like being under that government thumb. And again, I don't really feel divided with individuals. I feel divided with ideology. I don't care a person's, race, color, religion, creed. Well, I do kind of care about people's creeds. I mean, we have different creeds. Think about it. If you're like, I'm okay with killing babies up till 9 months, and even if the umbilical cord's still attached and they're out of the womb, be like, yeah, no, I'm not with you on that. See, and that's the problem that we're gonna have. We're gonna have those ideologies that are out there that are going to, here's a solution. Let's get rid of all the babies up till their umbilical cord's cut. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, that's a solution. They'll never grow up to be corrupt politicians. I mean, yeah, but that's kind of crazy. And then again, you're talking about every state, militia, and group bringing a list of grievances, which again, I don't know if you know this, but we keep the Declaration of Independence on our fridge. And for those that don't know, again, the Declaration of Independence, it's pretty much the last time groups got together to really hash out a list of grievances. And again, so in this one, you can see it starts here and it goes all the way to here. Like, it is insane to think that you're trying to essentially organize a Declaration of Independence from an unconstitutional form of government in 2019. But let me be honest with you, you guys. If you're actually watching this, he has refused his assent to laws in the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. I want you to think about how many of these would actually be happening today. When they started this, they're like, hey, they're talking about the king, and they're talking about him enforcing laws that are not good for the public. We have that right now. through multiple different laws, various laws in this country. And again, the king refused his assent to those laws, and the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. We have that today. So we're starting at their very first problem, and we have that very first problem today. You see what I'm saying? Here's one of my favorite ones. And again, these were all listed in order. Coming together. Grievances. Bringing them together. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he is utterly neglected to attend to them. So again, this one is, again, we're so divided in these states, these 50 states, that again, we don't have, I mean, the federal laws are essentially a joke. You go into a state saying, hey, the federal law says this, and they go, what federal law? You know? So again, this is where people's attention spans are like, I'm out, peace out. He has refused to pass other laws and the accommodations of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the rights of representation in the legislature, a right estimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. Again, we don't have equal representation, and we know this. So, again, it's insane to me to think that we're talking about, this is in 1776, in Congress, they're listing the grievances. Yeah, I'm not going to read all of them, but again, there's a few here that I really do think are, I mean, obviously, I think there's plenty of these that are still in effect today. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for their tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. The truth is that in all of our courts, we all know it, we all see it, they all go by a script, they all act, they all know what they're going to do to you before you sit down, they all have playbooked it out, and again, that comes from policies, and again, these are all grievances they had back then. He has made judges. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. Where again? His last one. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us. Now, again, I want you to really keep this in mind when I read this. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the mercenaries, merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. And that goes back to my buddy Chris saying, yeah, we used to go around and kill every single person except for one so they could tell the tale. Again, these are all a list of grievances. So when you say that you want to bring together a list of grievances and form this, you're essentially saying we want a new Declaration of Independence. And again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's another one in here that I really, really, truly want to emphasize in here. Well, here we go. For depriving us in many cases the benefits of trial by jury. And again, these are all happening today in some fashion, form, or fact or another. The same grievances that they had in 1776 are still happening today. Good morning, Mr. Marks. I mean, again, I'm not saying anything that's wrong. I'm just simply pointing out the facts here. So when you say you want to bring together a big group of people in 2019 with a list of grievances, I'm going to tell you the last time that was done before is 1776. And don't get me wrong, Jeremy, I love the idea, but 1776 will commence again if you try to take our guns. Is very Alex Jones-ish. Just saying. But don't worry, we got the documents. We're going to talk about it as soon as you're ready. I'm just messing. But again, I'd love to have that conversation because I love the idea. I love the concept. And I love to say, you know what, listen. And again, it's very libertarian. I mean, again, I don't know if you see it at the bottom. I mean, I'm not a part of the two-party duopoly way of thinking. But all these people right here knew that they were going to say, hey, we're going to list out our bitches, gripes, moans, complaints, concerns, questions, and comments. We're going to hash it out. We're going to come up with a document to tell the king that he can just take this country and leave it. And we'll run it from here. And then this is what he was doing wrong. They knew this was essentially a document that they could pay with their life. Because it would be called treason to the British Crown. So if you're openly declaring that the government now is essentially no different than the British, what do you think they're going to do? Except this time, this government has nukes and missiles and planes and up-armored vehicles, and they have, again, grenades. I mean, and we have... some guns. There's a reason why the Second Amendment, in my opinion, has already been abolished by this government. Because they have jets, missiles, nukes, tanks. The people don't have that. I promise you, if a tank showed up in South Dakota's capital and we're all having a rally there, I promise you we're not going to win the day against a tank. It would look cool, I guess, on somebody's live stream. Somebody would get a lot of views. But, yeah, and you are only allowed a bench trial, absolutely. Did North Carolina say that North Carolina District Court don't provide discovery? Yeah, exactly. They don't, for example, I'm walking, talking proof right now that they are violating, and they are no different than the British Crown. They don't provide you discovery for adequate self-defense. They only give you a bench trial. And the only way you do get a jury trial is if you appeal and you get one within 10 days. So they can call you guilty in the public and then jury tamper themselves in order to get a guilty conviction. Again, it's unconstitutional. I mean, I'm just saying, I fully plan on going to North Carolina in May just to be hung by an unconstitutional state government. I can't control that, now can I? So, again. But yeah, good point, Mr. Marks. Bench trials. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sends hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. It's in the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, he has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution. Now, let me read this one so crystal clear for you that you will, most of you are going to go, I have no idea what you just said there, CJ. And that's, again, they explain why, okay? He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. Again, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial for punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in the neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and for utterly fundamentally for altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate us in all cases whatsoever. Again, he has abdicated government here, and by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. These are all things that, again, you can make the arguments that a lot of those things in the Declaration of Independence are happening again. Yeah, it's slander and defame my character. Yes, Mr. Marks. We're fully aware that the government in North Carolina is trying to publicly hang me and not providing me a fair trial or any of that. So, again, this is something that is non-violent and again, no mens rea, no corpus delicti. The actual state is declaring itself a victim, and my assailant, who I can prove assaulted me, is claiming to be the victim in my case. We live in a society where law enforcement officers claim to be the victims, yet they're the ones doing the cyber stalking. They're the ones that are watching my videos. They're the ones that are listening to what I'm saying. And again, I can't control what other people do on the internet. And then they're going to try to charge me with it. So, yes, maritime law is what our courts run on, but people are too stupid to realize it. And those that know it get executed, because then we'll teach the public what it means. But what about the thin blue line? And there's the truth. If you look at something, for example, like Venezuela, there are people that were a part of Maduro that are now switching sides from the military, and they're recognizing the new president of Venezuela. And guess what? They realize it's wrong. We'll have to hope that law enforcement officers, that thin blue line isn't what I call them, that thin-skinned blue line that, again, deprives people of their rights and interests and then plays victim. Like I see with the sergeant, or with the deputy that assaulted me. The captain of the ship is landlocked. Again, they have brought a foreign jurisdiction onto the land. And I had somebody messaging me saying, hey, this is a theory. It's being passed around in the pro se community. It's not a theory. Now, I'll tell you what. QAnon, that's a conspiracy theory, okay? When you have a sitting president like Dwight D. Eisenhower with Executive Order 10801, something like that. Again, don't quote me on it, but again, I'll post it up later today. Go back to Executive Order from Dwight D. Eisenhower, his last one, where he discusses that the gold fringe flag around the flag is a mutation. And again, it's the war flag. It symbolizes maritime jurisdiction. The President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, stated it. It's not a conspiracy at that point. But these lawyers and bar associations, which again are operating laws and systems of court that are repugnant to our Constitution, hence the Declaration of Independence, again, they know these things. They know it. So what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll say somebody like me who just reads what presidents have wrote, what presidents have said, and then points it out, hey, what does that gold fringe flag mean? When I went down to Pierce, South Dakota, and I met up with Mark Ludwig and Representative Pischke, and then State Senator DeSanto made an appearance. Again, I have respect for all three of them, but I asked all three of them what the gold fringe flag means. We had one at the Perkins, of all places, sitting there. At the Perkins, and that's why Representative Pischke decided to bring the flag over for our picture, because it's a joke at that point. I asked State Representative DeSanto what the gold fringe flag mean, and she just, Again, I respect the woman, very intelligent, very nice woman, but if you don't even know what the gold fringe flag means, it's just a pretty decoration, is not the answer. It means Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction. You have probable cause to believe that you were cyberstalked twice by those who conspired to commit an assault battery upon your body. Yes, Mr. Marks, I am fully aware of that. Thank you for that one as well. They say we are government property, like cargo. Well, again, think about this. They are people too. The judges in all these trials are people. All these courts are people. So, if you have to be in a position where you determine other people's lives for the rest of their lives, it's best to dehumanize them, to turn them into something like cargo or dead persons. So that way, in your mind, you're not actually, you're dehumanizing them, therefore they don't have rights. And when you violate their rights, you don't have to lose sleep over it. You know? And again, it's not law of the flag. It is the flag symbolizes what law you're actually under. And again, it's not, there's no law. The flag does not have any law to it. It just tells you as a form of legal notice which form of law you are actually operating under. Flag signals and notification. And again, why do you think, for example, on boats out at the sea, you know, we have everything from square flags that tell you this to how you fly your flag of origin for your country. I mean, again, why they have the pirate flag. These are all, again, signs and symbols and notifications. If you are going to sit there and tell me that a flag doesn't have meaning, what does the stripes on the flag represent? Oh, that's easy, CJ. It represents the 13 colonies. Okay, so we agree the red and the white represent the 13 colonies. Okay, so what does the blue, the stars with the blue backdrop mean? Well, that's easy, CJ. It represents the 50 states. And at some point, we've had 13 stars, and we've had 48 stars, and now we have 50 stars, and we might have 52 stars someday. Okay, what does the gold fringe flag mean? I don't know, TJ, because that's a conspiracy. That gold fringe has no meaning. So everything else has meaning except that gold fringe and flag, gold fringe and tassels. Everything has meaning except the gold fringe and tassels. Yeah, that's right, CJ. You're just crazy for believing that it could actually be what you say it is. Because most people, and I hate to say this to you, America, but most of you, 99% of you, are fucking stupid. The vast majority of you are fucking stupid. I'm hoping that it's at least 97% of you, and we at least have 3% that's not fucking idiots. Like, that's my hope. Like, at this point, I'm questioning whether or not we actually have 3% that actually are not a bunch of idiots. But it's amazing to me how you will, and again, Dakota Kid, you just took my thunder, infringe on your rights. It's a fringe. Your flag is infringed. Your rights are being violated. Again, I've been in this for at least since 2011. I have noticed that this has been the case. And it's been through multiple presidents, and not just Democrats. It's been Republicans and Democrats, and they know it. They know it. I promise you, folks, they know it. The elite class in this country knows it. They know it. I'm not crazy for telling you in an educated, articulate manner the crimes this government is committing against you. For literally taking the Declaration of Independence, showing you that our founding fathers of this country already listed out their grievances that the government was committing against the people, the treason and the crimes they were committing against their own people. Taking away fundamental rights. It's not a crime to say this. And again, it puts you on a list of people that they'll say, oh, you're crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I think you're retarded for thinking your government's benevolent. Now, you think I'm crazy, and I think you're retarded. Now we have an impasse. And trust me, I would rather be educated and sound crazy to you than be uneducated and sound retarded to me. Make sense? Because again, if you come at me with, oh, this government doesn't violate people's rights, I'm going to be like, yeah, you're retarded. Thanks for letting me know. Now you go over there and color with some crayons. While the actual educated people are going to go this way and fix it for you retards that are too out there to actually comprehend the crimes being committed against you, how it's being committed against you, because I don't have time in this world. Like I said, if this government is going to look at my videos and go, oh shit, this guy is telling the people what he's doing against them, or what they're doing against everybody, I would expect that at some point I'm not going to be on this mortal coil I'm not probably going to live to be old, gray-haired, and an old man. You know? That's just the truth. If I keep going the way that I'm going, this government's going to have to silence me. Because, again, I'm going to write a list of grievances. And when Jeremy's idea does come to fruition and it has enough support, and we actually come together as one nation, completely affected by this government, then yeah, I'll have my list of grievances and list of remedies. All the way all the way up to and including the death penalty for government elected officials that violate the Constitution. If we had it in the Constitution right now that if you commit crimes against the people, that you could face a death penalty, I guarantee you a lot of people would stop violating people's rights and interests willingly. Facts. But again, this is just that crazy talk. It's just that CJ must be crazy. Yeah, that's okay though. I'd rather be crazy than retarded. And I think that if you can honestly open your eyes and not see the problems that this government commits against the people, then you are retarded. As in, you're useless to this country. You are just a parasitic leech that expects to walk amongst the people, and then when your rights are violated, you have no educated way to even articulate, so you have to get one of their actors to defend you, and in which case, again, they know what they're going to do to you before you even sit down. I feel like they're watching me too, CJ. I've been warned. Again, I don't feel like they're watching me. I have video evidence that they're watching me. Like, I have a magistrate saying, you can't say that stuff online. Excuse me? Are you watching me online right now? I mean, you're the government. All right. You know, I have elected representatives that know and watch me. And then again, some of them make it very clear to me, CJ, we're not against you. We just don't publicly come out calling everybody treasonous. You know, we don't go about it your way. Oh, okay, so you guys just sit there day in and day out and know people's rights are being violated and you don't stand up and say something today? So we call that complicit. At that point, you're complicit and apathetic to the problems that your constituents are actually facing. You all done? You ate all your toast and peanut butter? You didn't eat it all. Go finish your breakfast. You're going to be hungry later. You're not getting a snack later. You didn't finish your breakfast. Yeah. See, you guys are no different than my 4-year-old. You don't know your rights. You don't know what's good for you. You have to have somebody tell you. And then when it's cool, you'll get on board. You know? It's called remonstrance. I'm not getting into the remonstrance. I know where that phrase is coming from, and I know the argument for that group of people, and I'm not a part of that. I promise you. There is a different way. There's a different way. That way you're talking about, again, I've heard their arguments, I've seen their statements, and I'm not on board. You can count me out of that one. Well, you just lost 3 viewers, CJ. I don't care. Goodbye. Again, I kind of like where Jeremy's going with it. I kind of see where his vision's at with it. I'd like to discuss it more. You know. The only thing I have a question is when he says he wants to bring sovereign citizens to the table. Again, I want to hear more about that. Again, I don't believe that. I don't advocate for people to renounce their citizenship. I mean, again, it's I mean, look what happens if you renounce your citizenship and join ISIS. The president of the United States will be like, no, you stay over there. You know? That's literally the mindset of a lot of people in this country. Renounce your citizenship, become a sovereign citizen, and somehow it's going to fix all your problems. That's not true. And again, I think it's okay to discuss the crimes the government commits, to reference history, to look at today. But those groups are advocating essentially sovereign citizen crap, and the government already pegs you as sovereign if you start going down that road. Again, I don't advocate for that. I think it's bullshit. See, like I said, yeah, it's amazing. I understand. Again, this is where I wish Miko Hayes was here. That he and I have that same opinion. That yes, sovereign citizen is redundant and it doesn't make any sense. But whatever you want to call yourself or call it, the government, the current sitting form of government, calls you a redundant, essentially just as stupid as you feel that phrase is, and that I feel that phrase is. That's how they feel about people that do that. You know what I mean? Like, when somebody starts talking that sovereign citizen crap, it's okay to talk your rights. It's just not okay to keep doing what the sovereigns are doing, which is taking it to a whole different level. And you end up getting tased, beaten. They view it as carte blanche immunity to actually do whatever they want to you. Because you are foreign to their jurisdiction, therefore you shouldn't be in their jurisdiction, therefore they're going to treat you even worse. If you don't like what you say, then we have to debate it out, not snowflake and whine. Again, I agree. I put myself right here for people to push the button, and instead they huff and puff and hit the end button, which is their right too, but now they're going to go off and, oh, CJ was wrong about this. We got it right. CJ's the enemy. I don't care. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Fuck your feelings. All that fun stuff. I've said my piece, and I'm not wrong. I really hope that if there's a bunch of sovereign people that are watching my broadcast hoping that I'm like one of you, I'm not, I promise you. Although I do hear your grievances. So who was my last one? Who made it down to the one? Like I said, normally in coffee and a conversation, what I'll do is I'll go until there's one, and then that's about it. I try to get my numbers down to one. I suggest you guys do that someday. Like, just rant until you go from, like, even if you're somebody who's popular, go from, like, if you have like 50 people that are watching you, literally try to get it so that your broadcast number goes to 0. And it's actually quite fun. I think it's a challenge because, again, I want to challenge people's way of thinking. I want to challenge your current mindset. I want you to think, okay, well, yeah, he sounds like he's crazy, but he's not wrong. And the good way to do that is if you think I'm crazy, then obviously you can exit the button and go watch your Price is Right or whatever it is that you're wanting to do today. But, again, at least you know that I'm out here and I'm the one sitting here going, well, he has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. At least CJ's reading the Declaration of Independence today and discussing it while you go and get your jelly donut and watch your fishing channel. I'm not saying you can't get your jelly donut and watch your fishing channel, but for the love of God, don't rag on me for being concerned about the Declaration of Independence and what laws are being violated today. I don't tell you how to freedom. You don't need to tell me how to freedom. At least somebody's reading it today. At least somebody cares. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among them the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. That's what essentially Jeremy's trying to get at. It's right there in the Declaration of Independence that we need to bring grievances and solutions which impel us to the separation and declare those causes as forms of militia. I agree with it. And to assume amongst us the powers of the earth. I agree with Jeremy. I believe that Mr. Baker did the right thing by putting on an educated man to make the call. Militias are in the Constitution, folks. Article 1, Section 8. Section 8. Remonstrance and the sovereign citizen movement are in no way connected. A legislative remonstrance is a civil way to represent. Again, you're going into a government. And this is why, again, I'm not saying they're sovereign, but they are. A lot of sovereign groups are trying to connect to that. That's what I'm getting at. There has to be a conversation about the sovereigns at some point. But again, my point is still this, that you're going to the government that has violated your rights with what they're talking about. You're saying, okay, guys, we brought you this paper. We're calling you out on all these crimes. Now fix them. And that's it. What we're talking about through this other form, what Jeremy's talking about, is different than a remonstrance. A remonstrance is like this. What Jeremy's talking about is, like, people won't do it again. Again, there's a huge difference. Because people will, if we go Jeremy's route and the way that it's going, people will die. The tree of liberty will be refreshed with both the blood of patriots and the blood of tyrants alike. The way that he is going with it. And we've heard Mr. Baker say it before. He's even got the shirt with it on the back. You are going to bring that into fruition if we go full board within a year of declaring it and coming together in the center of the country. Because that's not a remonstrance. That's a monstrous idea that is going to, again, bring people from all around the country, not just declaring a remonstrance in one state legislature and going, woohoo! Yeah, you're going to cause them some headaches, but ultimately they're going to get their slap on the wrist, see your grievance, and call it that, and then go about their business as usual. Again, there are options. In every stage of these oppressions, we petition... You ate it all? Good job. In every stage, see, I win. Again, in nanoseconds. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humblest of terms. Our repeated petitions, which is a remonstrance, have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act in which may be defined a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. It's not there, it's right there. Your petition, your remonstrance to a state legislature that is violating your rights and interests was tried and done many a time, only to the dismay and more tyranny and more oppression. So again, I hear your argument. It's just that what you're trying to get at is not far enough. I was really hoping Jeremy would have been able to be found and come on here, but maybe another time. That's why I said, Dakota Kid, they've got nukes, missiles, the National Guard, private security forces, up-armored vehicles. I promise you, a National Guard would surround a Capitol building before people could actually take it over. Promise you. In any state, I promise you the military would be activated so quick if it was D.C. So again, but how much of our fighting force will turn on the people? Again, that's my question. You ask anybody, they would tell you that if it's an American citizen, the last thing that the military wants to do is go to war with its own people. Because, for example, the Marine Corps was established to fight the British. You know? I would have to assume that there would be a fighting force established to fight a government today, but the government today, like I said, has nukes. You know? It would not take long to squash any large demonstration or a large coming together of people. But again, I like the patriotism behind the idea. Because again, it establishes that we have concerns and we have grievances and we want them redressed. I'm not against it. But at the moment, I'm not for it because I think that the cost is going to be greater. And then again, I think that I'm both for it and against it. I want to have my questions clarified, and I think that that's where a lot of us will be today. Is we'll have questions that we want answered. Count me in, but with questions and logical ones. Not like I'm saying I'll just hide in my basement, guys, while you guys go play Patriots. You know. Anyways, because like I said, I see the problems. I want it redressed. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to go get Aubrey ready for the day and take her to the Dollar General. She doesn't know yet. And we got a bunch of snow out there, so I'm going to pop that four-wheel drive and go in the snow. But anyways, thanks Dakota Kid for being the last one today. Like I said, at some point I lost everybody to whatever they're doing today, but hopefully they're not going from me to Q, for the love of God. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys next time. And Jeremy, if you do end up seeing this video again, everything I've just addressed is just questions. So I'd love to have that conversation with you. And Ace Baker, if you do see this, you picked a really good guy to speak on the AWR platform. Now that he's very educated. So, all right, you guys. I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good day or don't. Choice is always yours. We'll see you guys next time.